Hello, everyone. Okay, this is the weekend. So happy weekend, everybody. Okay. Oh, yesterday we have no vocabulary. So then let's just review. Home sweet Lord. Okay. The government intervention in the housing industry. Real estate. Real estate. Real estate. Real estate. Residential real estate. First, socialism takes root in America. A house on every lot. Burden of the free market. Insurance for the common man. Full faith and credit. Credit. An invitation to fraud. OK，这前面这几章其实，这个根源说的很好，takes root in America，就是社会主义在美国，在美洲扎根，在美国扎根。这个很多欧美的人士，lots of people from democracy country they don't know details about the socialism，他们对 socialism 根本就不了解什么叫 socialism。这个事情很恐怖，他们根本不了解什么是 socialism 啊，no data。OK，we have data。这里边其实他这块说的这几个呃这个章节总结的很好啊，A house on every lot，就是社会主义号称人人有田种，人人有房住，人人所有的都是公有制社会主义，就是权利变得私有化，因为权利私有化，就像所有的权利都给到了这个 FDIC 和这个 Federal Reserve System，就是权利私有化，但是财富公有制。什么叫财富公有制呢？就是我跟你说啊，我保证你这个，我保证你那个啊，然后公共大众每个人，你看这儿说的，每个人都有房屋住，人人有其屋。其实到最后呢，你说了根本不算，因为权利是私有的，他想收回就收回，想怎么样就怎么样，权利是私有的，所以这就是社会主义的本质，就是财富公有，然后权利私有。那既然权利是私有的话，那你的财富作为公有的话，你对吧？那你怎么可能保证你个人财富的安全呢？所以个人财富是没有安全性可言的。就这是很多在民主国家的人对财富、对社会主义没有一个缺少一个最基本、最核心的一个认知。所以这就是社会主义，就是给你画一个很好的一个是吧？画个大饼，人人都有屋住啊，Federal Housing Authority 啊，就怎么样怎么样。然后这块呢就是 abandonment of the free market，自由市场经济被取消，那么所有的一切都是公有，那么自由竞争没有了，那所有的都是哎我国家，你权利是私有的嘛，权利私有，权利狐假虎威，就是躲在以国家为幌子来进行市场干预，干预市场之后获得的财富 获得的财富，这是指free ride fleecing of the taxpayer，薅这些人的羊毛，然后占这些便宜，获得财富都会私有化到这些大的公司手里。那在社会主义国家就是那几个头头，那几个家族控制了几个家族、几个集团，你应该叫家族，几个派系，然后控制了整个国家的这个经济命脉，所有的钱都是都到了他们私人的腰包里，啊，权力当然是吧？所以在社会主义国家，有钱那就是待宰的羔羊，有钱没权的话就是待宰的羔羊。那所以你想想，那有什么好果子吃啊？对啊，所以他就提了一个问题，叫 insurance for the common man。那你这些保障对于这个普通人来讲，那就是对吧？镜中花，水中月，就是扯淡，都是扯犊子。然后这里边讲了一个什么呢？讲了一个对，就是利用行政干预，然后强行利率倒挂，然后呢，然后出现问题再告诉说 fail, false and credits，然后政府给你兜底儿。那这些机构，这些大的机构也好，或者其实这叫中文叫白手套，私人利益集团和权力集团的白手套，然后为这些私人进行服务，然后获得的钱都到了这个私人腰包里。呃，再往后，他讲了一个 invitation to fraud，这是目前就是对于社会主义国家来讲，腐败就是制度性腐败。这里边其实也讲了一个叫做制度性腐败。这章讲的主要就是说一个制度性腐败，比如说养老金，比如说医疗，对吧？那你是这个人就分为369等啊，你是这个级别的，你是那个级别的啊，我就给你这不同级别，是吧？但是嘴上唱的很好，我们大家都有美好的未来，是吧？我们呃工作不分贵贱，你看从小就给你灌输这些，工作不分贵贱，我们都有美好的未来，是吧？都是为人民服务，对吧？为人民服务怎么能只干一届呢？对吧？我为人民服务，我就要哪有终点呢？我要一辈子为人民服务，对不对？啊，这就是这个就是制度性的腐败，通过不合理的制度，然后最终把这些权利获得的利益，然后全部倾向给这些和掌握话语权、掌握这些权利部队、军队属于国家，但是现在属于军队属于党，这就是社会主义国家就是这个样子。但是，美国人在民主国家待习惯的人，他没有这个，他感觉不到，他从小不在这个环境里长大，他感觉不到，就是社会主义吹嘘的那些大饼，就把这些人脑子洗傻了。好，那这就是前几章讲的一个。Okay, let's continue today's new paragraph. The fade-out begins. Okay. In spite of the accounting gimmicks, 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 好像是 gimmicks tricks, which were created to make the Walking Dead 哇，Walking Dead 是一个很有名的那什么 Walking Dead SNLs look healthy. By 1984, the fade-out began. 1984. The FSLIC closed one institution that year and arranged for the merger of 26 others, which were insolvent, insolvent, in order to persuade healthy firms To absorb insolvent ones, the government provides cash settlements to compensate for the liabilities. By 1984, these subsidized mergers were costing the FDIC over $1 billion per year. Yet, that was just the small beginning. Wow. Between 1980 and 1986, a total of 664 insured S&Ls failed. Government regulators had promised to protect the public in the event of losses, but the losses were already far beyond what they could handle. They could not afford to close down all the insolvent thrifts because they simply didn't have enough money to cover the payout. In March of 1986, the FSLIC had only 3 cents for every dollar of deposits. By the end of that year, the figure had dropped to 2/10 of a penny for each dollar. Oh my God. Insured. Obviously, they had to keep those thrifts in business, which meant they had to invent even more accounting gimmicks to conceal the reality, conceal, invent even more accounting gimmicks, invent, concrete or design more accounting gimmicks to conceal the reality. Postponement, postpone, postponement, 延迟 of the inevitable 不可避免的必然发生的 inevitable made matters even worse. Keeping the S&Ls in business was costing the FSLIC $6 million per day. By 1988, 2 years later, the thrift industry as a whole was losing $9.8 million per day. Oh my God. And the unprofitable ones, the corpses 公司尸体 Oh my God. The corpses which were propped up by the FSLIC were losing 35.6 million per day. Oh my God. And still the game continued. Oh my God. By 1989, the FSLIC no longer had even 2/10 of a penny for each dollar insured. Its reserves had vanished altogether.
like the thrifts it supposedly protected. It was itself. Involvement, insolvent, 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 insel, insolvent, insolvent, and looking for loans. It had tried offering bond issue, but bond and bond, bond issues, but this fell far short of its needs. Congress had discussed the problem but had failed to provide new funding. The collapse of Lincoln savings brought the crisis to a head. There was no money, period. The Fed usurps the role of Congress. Usurp, usurps the role, usurps 扮演篡夺 usurp usurp. In February, an agreement was reached between Alan Greenspan, chairman of the FED, and Danny Wall, chairman of the Federal Home Loan Board, to have $70 million of bailout funding for Lincoln savings come directly from the Federal Reserve. This was a major break in precedent 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 descent precedent this was a major break in precedent. Historically, the Fed has served to create money only for the government or for banks. If it were the will of the people to bail out a savings institution, then it is up to Congress to approve the funding. If Congress does not have the money or cannot borrow it from the public, then the Fed can create it out of nothing, of course, and give it to the government. But in this instance, the Fed was usurping the role of Congress and making political decisions entirely on its own. Wow. This is no basis in the Federal Reserve Act for this action. There's no basis yet. Oh my God. Congress remained silent, apparent out of collective guilt for its own para, paralysis. paralysis. Oh my God. There's a major break in history that has served to create money only for the government or for banks. If it were the willing of people to pay on the savings, then it is up to Congress to approve the fund. If Congress does not have the money and cannot borrow it from the public, then the Fed can create and give it to the government. But in this instance, the Fed was usurping the role of Congress and making political decisions entirely on its own. There's no basis in the Federal Reserve Act for this action. Yet Congress remains silent, apparently out of the collective guilty for its own paralysis. Oh my God! Finally, in August of that year, Congress was visited by the ghost of FDR and sprang into action. It passed the Financial Institutions Reform and Recovery Act and allocated a minimum of 66 billion for the following 10 years. 哦，那哇，那也不少。300 billion over 30 years. Oh my God. Of this amount, 225 billion was to come from taxes or inflation, and 75 billion was to come from the healthy SNLs. It was the biggest bailout ever, bigger than the combined cost for Lockheed, Chrysler, Penn Central, and New York City. Oh my God. In the process, the FSIC was eliminated because it was hopelessly insolvent and replaced by the Savings Association Insurance Fund. Eliminated. Eliminate. Okay, eliminated. Also created was the Banking Insurance Fund for the protection of commercial banks, and both are now administered by the FDIC. As is often the case when previous government control fails to produce the desired result, the response of Congress is to increase the controls for entirely new layers of bureaucracy. Bureaucracy. New layers of bureaucracy were added. Bureaucracy. Bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy.
Ra 啊，A 上面两个点 ，A 上边2个点儿，father， bureaucracy， bureaucracy were added to the existing tangle tangled mess. The Resolution Trust Oversight Board to establish strategies for the RTC, the Resolution Funding Corporation, to raise money to operate the RTC. The Office of Thrift Supervision to supervise thrift institutions even more than they had been, and the Oversight Board for the Home Loan Banks, the purpose of which remains vague, but probably is to make sure that the SNLs continue to serve the political directive of subsidizing the home industry remains 模糊 vague 哦 vague 不确定不清晰 the purpose of which remains vague, but probably is to make sure that the SIS continue to serve the political directive of subsidizing the home industry. When President Bush signed the bill, he said, President Bush, this legislation 对吗？这个法律条款 legislation will safeguard and stabilize America's financial system and put in place permanent reforms so these problems will never happen again. Moreover, it says to tens of millions of savings and loan depositors, you will not be the victims of the others' mistakes. We will guarantee that your insured deposits are secure. Okay, the second paragraph. The Fed usurps the role of Congress. The estimates are slightly wrong. Estimate, okay. 注意在前面 estimate. The estimates are slightly wrong. By the middle of the following year, it was clear that the 66 billion funding would be greatly inadequate, but go. Treasury spokesmen were now quoting, 130 billion, about twice the original estimate. How much is 130 billion? In 1990s, it was 30% more than the salaries of all school teachers in America. In America, it was more than the combined profit of all Fortune 500 industrial companies. It would send 1.6 million students to the best four-year college, including room and board, and the figure didn't even include the cost of liquidating a huge backlog of thrifts already seized, nor the interest that had to be paid on borrowed funds within only a few days of the announced increase. The Treasury again revised the figure upward from revised 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 the figure upward from to oh my god as Treasury secretary 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 Nicholas Brandy told the press, no one should assume that the estimates won't change. They will. They will. Indeed, the estimates continue to change with each passing week. The government had sold or merged 223 unsolved thefts during 1988 and had given grossly inadequate estimates of the cost. Financiers such as Ronald Perlman and the Texas Investment Partnership called Temple Inland picked up many of these at fantastic bargains, especially considering that they were giving cash subsidies and tax advantage to sweeten the deal. At the time, picked up many of these at fantastic bargains, especially sweeten the deal 增加吸引力 sweeten the deal. Giving cash subsidies and tax advantages. Cash subsidies 现金补贴 tax advantage 税收优惠 cash subsidies and tax advantage. Fantastic bargains. Subsidies, cash subsidies and tax advantages to sweeten the deal. At the time, Danny Wall, who was the chairman of the Federal Home Loan Banks Board, announced that these deals took care of the worst theft problems. He said the cost of the bailout was 39 billion. The Wall Street Journal replied, Wrong again. The new study, a compilation 爱心就是行动变形 comp comp compre comp compilation编纂compilation 天哪，这就是瞎扯呗 compilation of audits prepared by the Federal FDIC indicates that the total cost of the so-called class of 88 will be 90 billion to 95 billion, including tax benefits guaranteed the buyers and a huge amount of interest on government debt to help finance this assistance by the 1988 thrift rescues. Most expensive flaw doesn't appear to be the enrichment of tycoons. Rather, it's that none of the deals ended or even limited the government's disclosure to mismanagement by the new owners, hidden losses on real estate, real estate in the past, or the vicissitudes. Work 不是 weak ver 重音在第二 ver vicissitude of the real estate markets in the future, and some of the deals appear to be sham transactions in which failing thrifts were sold to failing thrifts, which are failing all over again, although the thrifts proved to be in far worse shape than the bank board estimated. Mr. Wall defends his strategy for rescuing them with open-ended assistance. We didn't have the money to liquidate, he says. When Congress passes the previous year to safeguard and stabilize America's financial system, the staggering震惊 staggering 提醒 staggering 令人震惊的 and inflation over the following 30 years to do the job. Staggering sum of $300 billion was authorized to be taken from taxes and inflation over the following 30 years to do the job. Now, Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan was saying that the true long-term cost would stand at $500 billion, and amount even greater than the default of loans to all the third world countries combined, the figure was still too low. A non-based private study released by World Bank showed that when all the hidden costs are included, the bill presented to the American people will be about 532 billion. The problems that President Bush promised would never happen again were happening again. Bookkeeping sleight of hand. Long before this point, the U.S. market began to contract, and many mortgage 抵押贷款 mortgage O 上边两个点 O 上边一个加 no called call mortgage okay mortgage 障眼法 sleight of hand sleight of hand 障眼法 sleight of hand sleight of hand 障眼法 slate slate
Slight.
啊 slight oh sleight of hand okay gimmick slide accounting gimmicks are not fraud. Junk bonds are not junk. Junk bonds are not junk. 垃圾债并非垃圾。Okay. Bookkeeping sleight of hand. Long before this point, the real estate market.
Real estate.
Real estate market had began to contract, and in mortgage exceeded the actual price at which the property could be sold. Furthermore, market interest rates had risen far above the rates that were locked into most of the asset loans, and that decreased the value of those mortgages. The true value of a 50,000 mortgage that's paying 7% interest is only half of 50,000 mortgage that is earning 14%. So the protectors of the public
devices, devices, devised, devised, shit, devised, devised, advised, advised, advised. A scheme whereby theirs were allowed to value their assets according to the original loan value rather than their true market value. That helped, but much more was still needed. The next step was to create bookkeeping assets out of thin air, out of nothing, out of thin air. This was accomplished by authorizing the OCLs to place a more monetary value on community goodwill with the mere stroke of a pen. The referees created 2.5 billion in such assets, and the players continue the game. Oh my god. Then they began to issue certificates of net worth, which were basically promised to bail out the ailing in poor health. I want to see my ailing mother, the ailing economic figurity. They need it. The government had already promised to do that, but by printing it on pieces of paper and calling them certificated of net worth, the assets were allowed to count them as assets on their books. Such promises are assets, but since the thrifts would be obligate 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 A 上面两个点儿啊 obligate A 上面两个点 obligated pay back any money it received in bailout. Those payback obligations should also have been put on the books as liabilities. The net position would not change. The only way they could count the certificates as assets without adding the offsetting liabilities would be for the bailout promises to be outright grifts with no obligation to ever repay. 净资产 net position 唯一能将这些资产平值而不增加对应负债的方式就是救助
承诺视为完全的赠与，不带有偿还义务。某些凭证 certificates 被视为资产而不影响，某些凭证被视为资产而不影响净资产状况。唯一逻辑就是将这些救助承诺视为无偿赠与而非负债货。
就是我给你的这些救助不能，这些资产不能成为负债，或者是就是不影响你的净资产。唯一的做法就是赠与。Outright gifts with no obligations to ever repay, without the offsetting liability. Offsetting 是与资产相对应的 offsetting 对应的负债。Without promise, outright gift, outright gift 是无条件 outright, no right, outright gifts 完全赠与 with no obligation to ever repay 不附带 with no obligation to ever repay 任何偿还义务 obligation 义务偿还义务 ever repay with no that may be the eventual result, but it is not the way the plan was set up. In any event, the thrifts were told they could count these pieces of paper as capital, the same as if the owners had put up their own cash. And the game continued. 尽管如此，这也不是所预想的结果。这可能是最终的结果。Maybe the eventual result, but it's not the way the plan was set. 这是这辆汽车的设计。Eventually 是最终方面，最终。Eventual, eventual, 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 eventual 可以翻译。Eventual, eventual 跟 eventual 就叫 eventual result, but it's not the way the plan was set. In any event, 无论如何。The Swift was told they could count these pieces of paper as capital. 有一个被告知可以将这些纸质凭证视为资本。Piece of paper. The same as if the owners had put up their own cash. 投入。就像所有者实际投入自己的 the same as if the owner put up their own cash. And the game continued. 这就是处置机构通过凭证视为资本来掩盖财务问题。对。The moment of the truth arrives when the assets have known how to liquidate some of their holdings, such as in the sale of their mortgages, mortgage.
Mortgages.
mortgage,
mortgage,
mortgage, mortgage,
mortgage, mortgage,
mortgage, or foreclosed homes to other as commercial banks or private parties. That is when the inflated bookkeeping value is converted into the true market value, and the differences has to be entered into the ledger, as a loss, but not in the never land of socialism, where government is the great protector. Someone the moment of the truth arrives when the assets have to liquidate some of their holdings, such as the sale of their mortgages for or sale closed homes to others as commercial banks or private parties. That is when the inflated bookkeeping value is converted into the true market value, and the differences have to be entered into the ledger as a loss, but not in the never land of socialism, when government is the great protector. 当不得不清算资产的时候，比如将抵押贷款或者指数的房产出售给其他人，正向时刻到了，那些虚高的账面价值被转化为真实的市场价值，而差额则必须入账为亏损。但在社会主义的乌托邦中 ，never land of socialism， 政府是最终的庇护者，这种情况则不会发生。但由于政府干预和庇护体系中这些问题可能被掩盖规避，隐含对社会主义经济政策的讽刺。就是啊 ，never land， 对他们还知道啊，这就是社会主义。Permits that which sold the mortgage to take the loss over a 4 year period. Most companies selling assets at a loss must take the loss immediately. Only SAS can engage in this patent fraud. Patent, obviously. Patent lied. Her honesty was patent to everyone. Honest was patent to everyone. Patent. Two failing could conceivably conceivably. And I just conceivably cost more than conceivably. Conceivably, I might arrive before. Probably, conceivably, be selected. Sell their lowest yielding mortgage to one another and both would raise their net worth. 净资产 net worth. This dishonest accounting in the banking system is proved by the highest regulatory authority. U.S. New World Report continues the commentary. Okay, 怎么说的呢？ Today, scores of savings and loans associations kept alive mainly by accounting gimmicks continue to post big losses. Only a fraction of the industry aggregate net worth comprises hard assets such as mortgage notes, intangible assets, which include bookkeeping entries such as goodwill, make up nearly all the industry's estimated net worth of好，最后一看一下这个kept alive 维持主要是因为会计的小技巧来维持 continue to post big losses 持续报表 only a fraction 很小 fraction 分数 fraction of the industry's aggregate net worth compared to other assets such as mortgage notes 只有很小一部分由诸如抵押票据等实物资产组成 intangible assets 无形资 which include bookkeeping entries such as goodwill, all of the industry estimates net worth 而无形资包括商誉 goodwill 商誉几乎占据了行业总资产的全部 goodwill 商誉是标准会计术语Scores of saving and loans associations OK 是那个 goodwill 商誉 goodwill 商誉这个Okay, that's all for today. Accounting gimmicks are not fraud. Fair begins. 好了，社会主义的这些招用完之后，帝国开始倒塌，这些小百姓开始倒塌。倒塌的时候呢，就是解决办法，反正就是给钱再给钱，然后再把你弄晕，然后slightly wrong，结果评估的这些钱还不够，300个 billion 还不够，要涨到500个 billion，我130个 billion 最后涨到了130个 billion 涨到了150还是不够，然后又到了多少？最终给了多少？然后呢？对，这里边有个很严重的事情是Federal Reserve System 不经过国会就直接开始印钱了，以前还通过国会，以前还向国会申请，现在不申请，直接开始印了。Bookkeeping sleight of hand 这是做账的技巧，账面技巧 bookkeeping 账面的技巧 bookkeeping 簿记中的障碍法，记账的障碍法，记账障碍法就是
除了某些净资产之外，剩下的全是无形资产。而净资产不是净资产，就是说实物资产只占很小一部分，大部分都是虚拟的账面的资产，无形资产 （intangible）。这些 intangible 简直了，充斥着整个的这个银行界。这就是今天的东西，我们学的今天的东西就这些。然后呢，我们看一看这个 vocabulary，sweeten the deal。sweeten the deal，sweeten the deal 怎么是通过这 sweeten the deal 呢？是税率和那个什么，哪去了？这个 cash the cash strategy and subsidies, subsidies and tax advantages， 这些都叫包括哪些呢？cash cash cash 哎 cash cash subsidies and tax advantages， 这些组成了 sweeten the deal。sleight of hands bookkeeping， 然后在账面上最好，然后 review。好了，明天我们看一下，告诉你这些会计手法不是腐败 ，not fraud，not fraud， 不是诈骗。Okay, that's all for today. Happy weekend. Let's wrap it up today. Thank you. Bye bye.